Quality, innovation, respect, and integrity. Take steps to invest in your career. International Management Consultancy is the leading global marketplace for learning and instruction, helping professionals across the industry to develop skills and expertise to get recognition and growth in the corporate world. We are one of the leading training providers and gradually spreading our training facility amongst candidates based at different geographies, such as Canada, United States of America, United Arab Emirates, Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, Lebanon, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Philippines, India, and many other countries across the globe. IMC is accredited by the highest industry standards. We put in the efforts and we work to prove our commitment to offering our clients only the best and of superior quality. With a uniquely immersive curriculum that combines live instruction from the leading experts, peer-to-peer collaboration, on-demand lessons, unlimited online trainings, and 24/7 learning support. IMC helps over thousands of professionals learn their skills needed to advance their careers and reach their full potential. In line with our commitment to excellence, IMC offers a number of training courses preparing professionals for certifications and exams given by the international associations in areas like management, finance and accounting, human resources, sales and marketing, quality administration, and as well as project management. By fully attending these courses and successfully completing the requirements of the certifying body, participants will receive a special certificate which recognizes their dedication and commitment and in many cases help them earn valuable continuing education credit. IMC Consultants has been working together with their clients from various industries in aligning their people and processes to compete through high speed, excellent quality, and low cost. We strongly believe that the key to our success is our total commitment in delivering value to our clients based on integrity, honesty, and openness. If you are uncertain about which roles or skills are best for you, hurry! Come visit our website or talk to our expert education consultants today. Take a step, invest in your future, empower your knowledge, and be one of our success stories. International Management Consultancy, excellence is what we deliver.
Perspective, and I hope everyone is yes. So we have everyone on in the session now. So before we get started, just a quick bit of information just wanted to share. I will be preparing detailed notes and I will be sharing that to you all with after every session through this Google Drive. So I'm sharing this link of the Google Drive. That's where all the notes you are highly encouraged to kind of prepare your own notes because everyone relates with their notes better. So yes, but I will still be preparing those notes and I'll be sharing it with day-wise folder. So I'm creating a folder right now. By the end of the session, whatever we work on, any templates that I'm sharing with you all, including notes, I will put that in the shared drive and you can download from this one. So this is the shared drive. Please make a note of it, bookmark it, because that's what we're going to be using for sharing a lot of material over the course of the training. So that's on the Google Drive. Next, as we go through various stages of Six Sigma, day by day, we would have like some topics and some subject within this Lean Six Sigma Greenbelt course to be covered. So we will go through certain stages of Six Sigma. As we go through today's session, we'll be able to understand different phases of Six Sigma. So we've got some mock tests just to this is for you to gauge your understanding. So I would highly recommend once we're done with, say, we complete the define phase, I would request you to go and try out this mock test. Simple Google form has some questions around the define phase. Try them out and see where you, like if in case there any area where you need more clarity, that will be a good check. Other than that, from examinations perspective, so this definitely will help. But there is another set of questions which are there in your LMS. I'm sure when you log in through LMS, you will be able to find a document which is like question bank. A lot of questions are there. So that is also there, which can help you. But this is stage wise. That's a mix of all the things. So probably that won't be the right thing to get started with, because when you're done with everything, that's when you'll be able to kind of go through that mixed bank of questions. So this is stage wise. As you move forward, once you're done with a particular topic, and then you can go and try out, and if you need any clarity, we can discuss that. uh, Next thing, just want to talk about, this is Minitab software. So I'm sure we all must have unlike we all know what is Minitab. Being getting into the Lean Six Sigma world, again, it's something which everyone globally practically understands, uses as a statistical software. So we will primarily be doing all these things on Minitab, keeping in mind that's what is the demand of corporates. Everyone globally is doing it. We've been doing, like, so I almost have been doing almost equal number of trainings that I do for Lean Six Sigma, any belt, and Minitab nowadays. For at least last 7 or 8 months, I would have delivered at least 8 odd trainings on Minitab for the people who have gone through Six Sigma Green Belt training, Six Sigma Black Belt training, but they've not been exposed to Minitab. So, or they have little or no knowledge sort of on Minitab. We will go through extensive training on Minitab as we go through the topics. So will not have to go for any other subsequent training from Minitab perspective. It's the best software. I'm sure when you download it, you will use it during the course. You will realize that how powerful. In case you've been already using it, then it's I'm sure there's no explanation required around that. By the way, just want to check, like, has anyone been using Minitab before?
No.
All right, no problem, no
No.
hassles.
Yes, I
Perfect.
have.
Okay, perfect. So this, I would request you not to download it right now. Why? Because it comes with a 30 days trial version, and the trial version is full version. So it doesn't have limited features, it has full features, but you can only install Minitab on a proper laptop or desktop once as a free trial version. In case you have multiple laptops, then there is no problem. But yes, so if you want to install it, like, please wait, because go as per the schedule that we have for subsequent days. We we will start actually using Minitab from the third day onwards. So we will save on time, because these are like weekly sessions. So at least you might, in that case, you might lose out about 15 days time in between. We are not going to use Minitab. The link is right there, so you can install it. I will, before the session, I will definitely like let you know, like, so on the end of second day, I will definitely remind you that yes, before the next session, get this installed. It'll be good to install it on 17th of May itself, so that you have full time, 30 days time available with you, where you can practice and do all those experiments on Minitab, which is where I would say, please do not install. The link is with you right here, but I will definitely come back on the second day and let you know next day. Ideally, it will be 17th will be the right day to install it. Here, one more thing, I guess Rose must have shared a WhatsApp group link where I would, this is already shared by Rose in the chat. I would request you all to join this group where it is created for this batch. This will help us ensure that, yes, if you have any questions during the training or even after the training is over, we can still stay in touch. And because, see, the questions come in when you actually start implementing it. We'll try to go and make sure that you won't see. I'm sorry if in case I'm trying to, probably I might be disappointing people. If you are probably waiting for some slides where there won't be any slides, because I truly believe Six Sigma is not about any literature which I can teach you. And it's like a story that you can probably mug up. It's a practitioner's job. You got to do it and learn it. So it's more of an experiential learning. So there's a difference between, like, what we hire for my project, when I hire for my clients, when we're doing a Six Sigma project. Generally, the biggest problem that we see in the market is that people who have got theoretical knowledge, but when it comes to the application of that in real world project, that's what is missing, the transition of theory to practical. So we try to go through this entire project in a mode in this as if we are doing a project, so that we have a sequential knowledge of tools, like when what tool will be required. A sort of a roadmap gets created, so we have a clear-cut roadmap which we know how a project will actually go through in a typical way, because every project manager has its own ways of kind of making customization, but typically this is how it will be. But yes, customizations are always required, because there's no standard yardstick for anything. Like even PMP has gone and made a lot of change with this syllabus now. It's not about tailoring. Tailoring is important. You need to understand and respect the area that you're working in, and the culture is different, people are different, so you got to customize things. But all in all, if you have a roadmap, you can always create better version of it. So that's what we'll try to go and develop. So I will be preparing, and that's why I said I will be preparing detailed notes, so that you have a reference, you will have the access to recordings, you will be able to kind of tally and revise at a later stage also. So if in case when you're working on a project, where you're preparing and later on revising it, if there's any question which comes in, please join the WhatsApp group. So that was, we stay connected. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to assist you whenever I can. Like, so it is highly recommended, but yes, still it's your choice. So the link for the WhatsApp group is already shared by Rose in the link. So I guess that's all what we had from the initial bit of it. On that note, I would like to once again welcome you all for this Lean Six Sigma Greenbelt training. On that note, we will be starting with this. And yes, as I requested, I would definitely expect engagement from you, questions from you, and that's how we will make it a great session rather than a good session. So first thing first, we'll try to kind of keep it to the point, like when we start keeping a short duration session, and we would like to kind of keep it to the point. So first of all, let's try and understand what is lean. So when you talk about lean, anyone wants to pitch in? What is your understanding about lean as of now? What do you understand by lean? Anyone? We talk about Lean Six Sigma, but like Lean and Six Sigma, two different stuff.
I think lean is about minimizing the waste.
Absolutely perfect. So yes, 100% correct. So we just want to draft the same, but yeah, thanks for the answer. Yes, it's identification and elimination of waste from the process to increase efficiency without compromising on the quality of product or service. That's what I would sort of kindly sort of define lean, keeping in mind we have all those required elements. So just kind of let's break down this definition into simple form. We've got a process, either I'm manufacturing a product or I'm delivering a service. There are always certain process steps. So if I'm making a product or delivering a service, say there's a process step A, where I'm working in the first step. And once this A step is completed, the product or service moves to the second step, which is B step. Then it moves to C step, and then D, and then E. Say this is how my process works. So it starts from A, goes to E, until the time that's my final step where my product or service gets, like the final output is available. Say this takes me about 15 days time. Now, with the knowledge of lean tools and techniques, what we try to do is understand, is there any step in this process which is waste? Now, how do we identify? That's what we will be discussing as we go into details of lean part of it. But say by the knowledge of lean tools and techniques, we're able to figure out that the C step is a waste. It qualifies to be called as a waste from a lean perspective. So what we do is we've identified it by the knowledge of lean tools and techniques. So that's the first step, is to look at your process, observe your process, and identify the waste in the process. So we did your identification by the knowledge of lean tools, and now it's all about eliminating it, because we don't want a waste to be sitting in the process. So now what we do is we eliminate. My process is trimmed now. So now my trimmed process, the lean process, looks like this. Now, because I've removed the waste from the system, it's taking me, say, roughly about, say, 11 days time. That's what is lean. Let's not know nothing so scientific about lean. Trust, I cannot teach you anything about lean. Why? Because you already know lean. You all have been practicing in, rather everyone practices lean in day-to-day life. Everyone. There's no new concept. There's no rocket science with the lean. When we talk about lean, this is all about it. The core essence of lean is all about time. What we're trying to answer here is, can you deliver a product or service faster? When I say faster, obviously, without compromising on the quality of product or service. So whatever quality customer was enjoying at the end of 15 days, well, that cannot be compromised. So customer should get the similar quality product and service by the end of 11 days. So why we do this, we definitely want to do this. This will enhance the customer experience because customer is getting it sooner. Aren't you saving money? Yes, we've saved money from the step number C, which was done. We never criticized. We were doing it because it was a part of our process. It was documented SOP. Somebody wrote it, but we never criticized it. And that was been done time and again and again, and we were continually creating that waste. So we have now optimized the process efficiency. In terms of cost, the cost which was spent in the resources, material, and everything, effort. So you optimize on every front: cost, resources, raw material, time, effort, everything you've saved on that, and many more things. So you're not doing that unnecessary waste. Your process is lean. Lean is all about time. And to optimize the time, what you do is about removing waste. When you remove waste, you cut short the process without compromising on quality. That's when you say, well, lean has been implemented. You end up saving time. Lean is all about speed of the process. Can you make it faster? Unnecessary, a fat process has turned a lean process. With the lean, what do? Here, lean, the core concept of lean is, the basic tool of lean is observation. That's all. There's no other rocket science here. When we talk about lean, just look at your process. What do you fix with lean? What you can see, you can fix with lean. Simple. This is what you go to your process. You go and start looking at your process, auditing your process from the beginning and go till the end. And you keep observing every single process step. And with the knowledge of lean tools, you try to understand, is this a waste? Is this a waste? Is this a waste? For every process step, you try to justify whether that process step should be there, that activity should be done or not. And then you sort of remove it. It's just about observation. Core tool of lean is observation. You see and you fix it. If it doesn't look nice, just fix it. Simple as that. That's what is lean. And to kind of validate this, and just to kind of give you a quick perspective of this, I'm going to play a very, very quick short video, but that's what will be a simple answer to what is lean. So there is this, let me just kind of, give me one quick moment. There was just two separate videos which got, okay. Yeah. So I'm going to keep the sound on mute, and this is, we're just trying to observe a process. This is just to kind of understand in basic layman version, what is lean? This is what you do with every process step. Any process, any business, doesn't matter which industry you're in. This is what exactly do. You look at every single step, what you do, and you definitely make an account of the time, because lean is all about time. So my entire essence of looking at this process is to cut down the time. So we keep account of every single step and how much time was spent doing that activity. This is what we observe. Lean is all about observation. You track every single process activities in this one. And then and even with this, probably even till the 7th point, if I have to deliver, this is the question was to deliver toast to the customer earlier, but practically even till 8th point, there were a lot of things which could have been done better. There's a lot of things happened all this while till this point number 8, which could have been done better. So we can look at this as quick short video, but that will give you a clear perspective that what is lean, and that's what we do in every process. Industry doesn't matter. Logic will still remain the same. Time we're spending in the process, the time is already clicking. The moment we started the activity one, the time is already on. This waiting time is also killing the time. That's taking extra time. So that is something which we call as defect. The defect had to be corrected. So that extra work was done. Goodness me, that's just trying to clarify requirements. Fine. Now, let's. That's pretty much as lean. We got to find out, like, we technically don't need any other additional definition to see what went wrong in the process. There were a lot of things which could have been done in a much better way, starting from understanding the requirement. And lots of things could have been done better. The arrangement, the planning, it's complete chaos that we saw. And the defects were done. So when we go through the lean part of it, we'll try to go and figure out, when you see a process from the beginning till the end, what is that you got to be looking for? And there are different ways you identify a waste. So we're going to talk about those methods, those ways you categorize the waste. And if that fits every activity, we'll try to go and see whether this activity fits into those categories of waste definition. If it fits in, then you call that as a waste. We will go into details, but this is just to give you a high level idea about what is that we go with and do with lean. We look at your process and simply observe and find waste in the system. And then we go about eliminating those waste in the system. That's pretty much about the lean part of it. I hope that's okay with everyone. Is it fine?
Yes.
All right, perfect, sir. Perfect. Coming to Six Sigma. Now, Six Sigma is a different ballgame altogether. When we talk about Six Sigma, this is more about data-driven approach. When we talk about analysis, we talk about the new slogan is the data is the new oil. Like everyone wants to capture data, everyone wants access to data. You install an application, that application wants to seek and permission to get your contacts, your messages, and everything. Why is that? Well, pretty much everyone wants to capture data because that's the real power in the current scenario, and keeping the future in mind. Data analytics, data analysis, data study, like everything from data perspective has become so important. So when we talk about Six Sigma, it's again goes back in the same logic. When we talk about Six Sigma, it's all about statistical approach. It's a statistical approach to reduce variation. When I say variation, I would definitely write on defect here in the process to increase effectiveness. Now, technically, lean works on improving the efficiency. Six Sigma works on improving the effectiveness of the process. Now, when we talk about effectiveness, what does it mean practically? Well, we say effectiveness, that's a fancy term that we're talking about with respect to quality of the process. Well, if you reduce your variation, which we will talk about what is variation here, we simply mean it's a defect. If you reduce your defect, obviously your quality improves. Lesser the defect, higher the quality. So we try to reduce the defects in the process, whatever defects are happening, which will increase your quality of the process, effectiveness of the process, how good you are is defined by the quality. How do you do it? You do it with data analysis. You do it with a statistical approach by understanding the data. Well, when does Six Sigma comes into picture? Well, this, when you talk about Six Sigma, this will help us solve those issues which we can't see. What you see is what you fix with Lean. What you can't see, you fix with Six Sigma. Well, this is beyond what we see. Well, we have tried our expertise, our knowledge, our education, everything. We've got a group of experts. We've tried to solve a business problem. It gets settled, but after some time, again, the problem resurfaces. We again try to solve it. Again, it resurfaces after some time. There's something missing in our correction method. That's why the problem resurfaces, and that's what we probably need to solve with Six Sigma. When we tried, tested, and failed, it's not your first choice. It will always be a last choice. So what you've been doing great. You're great professionals in your area and your respective domain, industry. Well, there's nothing which needs to be changed. What you already know is you're already a great successful professional because of that. This is just another tool in that armory that you have, and that's what you will be adding to it. So pretty much with that additional knowledge, you would have more about fact-based decisioning, where things get to standstill. When you get to a point where you don't have an answer, that's when Six Sigma will be required. Not in every case. Six Sigma will always be my last choice, not my first choice. When you talk about Six Sigma, there's no point in going with a solving. Well, Six Sigma will have lots of tools, and you can use those tools as a standalone piece. Don't need to do a complete project. In the end, what my management wants, a business problem to be solved. Well, if you can just solve it with some of the tools, there's no fun in doing a complete project. When we do consulting work, it's not about completing a project, it's about solving a business problem. So if I can solve with some of the tools, simple tools, well, then pretty much let it be simple. There's no point in making something complicated, which can be solved with simple stuff. So we will have that luxury to use those tools as standalone tools, and we'll only go with a project approach when we have tried and tested everything and it sort of didn't work out. Then we go with more extensive approach of doing a complete project on Six Sigma. When we say, what is this effectiveness? What do we actually do with Six Sigma? Say, for example, hypothetically, my client, my client gave me an order to manufacture, I say, a whiteboard marker. That's what the simple requirement customer had, and the customer says that I need 5.5 inches long marker. Now my process started creating these markers, and I sort of look at these markers. This is the size of some of those markers. It's like I pick up some sample. This is what it looks like. If I look at this markers, this is like I'm randomly sort of adding a 5.5, some more 5.5. It can't be that bad. Well, in each case, that's what we have. Well, is this 5.5? No, that's a variation from 5.5. That's more than 5.5. Well, that's what I call as a defect. Customer call that as a defect. Is this 5.5? No, that's a variation from 5.5. That's what customer would call as defect. This is fine. All this is fine. Well, this is quite higher than 5.5. That's again a variation. That's a defect. This is quite less than 5.5. Again a variation. This is again a variation, this is again a variation, this is again a variation. So either you're more than the target or you're less than the target. That's a variation, and that variation will be treated as a defect from the customer standpoint. What Six Sigma does when you have data collected like this, you go about using certain statistical tools and techniques to find out why this variation is happening. And when you figure that why, you'll be able to solve it. Well, since you were not able to find the solution to why with general approach, now you're going to go and do a deep dive into the data to find out why that is happening, because we tried everything. And that's what we can't solve by general way. Well, that's when we go with Six Sigma. So probably we would have tried and tested everything what we know to solve this problem. It gets solved, but again, we start creating such output, which is bad. So that's when we need a Six Sigma to go and do a deep dive into data, analyze this data, and then figure out why is that happening. And that's what, and if you know your problem, every industry has experts style like you. If you are given a problem, you'll always have a solution. Well, you got to have the problem identified. If you don't know the problem, what medicine, like if you don't know the disease, what medicine would you be giving? Well, you can't just give any medicine. So knowing the disease, knowing the problem is the first step before you have a solution. So that's what Six Sigma will help you find out what is causing and what is causing that variation. So you know the problem, then pretty much life is much more easier. It's back to normal then. When we talk about Six Sigma as a process, as a project, when we implement Six Sigma project, generally people say Six Sigma level. Well, when we say Six Sigma level, what quality percentage are we talking about? What is the performance standard that we're talking about with reference to Six Sigma? In case anyone wants to share that. When we say my process is working at Six Sigma level, what is the performance standard there? Any number that comes to your mind? Have you heard about the number or performance level that my quality is so and so percentage and stuff like that? Any performance standard number? If I say my process is working at Six Sigma level, how good is the process quality in that case? Have you anyone heard about 3.4 DPMO? Anyone heard about this word, the terminology? Okay, that's fine. Let's go. It's 3.4 DPMO stands for 3.4 defect per million opportunity. That means if you were given 1 million opportunities, the maximum probability of making a defect is just 3.4 in a 1 million opportunities. There's almost like a zero defect. That doesn't even stand a chance in a 1 million. People, or there's another term which people also use is 3.4 ppm. Meaning is the same. It's called 3.4 parts per million. So if your process is working at Six Sigma level, this would be your defect rate. And that's how it's so good. It's unbelievable performance when you say 3.4 in 1 million. That's unbelievable. When we translate the same into quality percentage, because generally we speak everything in percentage format. When in Six Sigma, everything is measured on a million scale. How many defects would you make in a million? So that's how it is always going to be translated in a million scale. But in a general way, people always talk in the language of percentage. So my quality percentage at Six Sigma level will be 99.99966%. When your process quality has this quality percentage, that's when you say my process is working at Six Sigma level. Now, let's see and understand how good or bad is this performance level. Well, we usually say like 99% quality is a great quality, good quality. And yes, but it used to be. It like gone are those days when we used to be a market leader at 99% quality. Will soon be history if you're working at 99% quality. It's a cutthroat competition going on. Customer has become absolutely intolerant about defect. Slightest defect, you will not be given a second chance. There's better options. You're just an option. We have 10 or 20 years ago, it was still a choice because customers barely had choices. So they had to, whether they like it or don't like it, there were few options. Well, if you recall about 10, 12 years ago or so, probably if you needed a business phone, we don't want to be talking about BlackBerry. We wanted a camera, we would be probably talking about Kodak. Well, there were options. They had monopoly. Whether you like it or not, you have to live with it. But yes, things have changed. Now, practically customers so many choices and customer would not tolerate a defect. They'll switch on. We are just an option. So when we talk about 99% quality, well, it used to be a good quality, but it's horrible quality as of now. And let's understand what. When we say 99% quality, that means my pass percentage is 99 out of 100. So that means if I manufacture or my output, or if I have 100 as an output, then I have 99 will be my conformance thing. It's my quality. My fail rate at 99% is 1 out of 100. That's what it simply means. If I make 100 products, I will have 1 error out of 100. That's what it is. But if I convert and translate this into a million scale, if my process is working at a 99% quality, how many defects will I make in a million? Which is 6 zeros, this is 5, 6, okay. So if I make 1 error out of 100, then how many errors will I make out of million? 10,000. And what we're comparing it with is Six Sigma level. This is the difference we're talking about. Things have changed drastically. And that's what Six Sigma has picked up big time, because this generation has become very, very like intolerant about defects. We just cannot withstand any defect. So yes, the companies and corporates have to kind of improvise, like without probably getting a high increase in their profit margins, but you have to deliver higher quality with no defect. It's the zero defect concept comes in the picture, and that's what Six Sigma drives you to get to that level. So this, if you're able to achieve to a Six Sigma level, definitely one of the best organizations you have. And within an organization cannot be a Six Sigma company. Every KPI, every metric that you have, you can calculate Sigma level. You can calculate Sigma level for this training, attendance. You can calculate Sigma level for your quality, your cost, everything that comes to mind, every KPIs that you try to chase, you can calculate Sigma level for that. And we can do it right now. We will get into details of that, explanation of it later. But for now, we can quickly talk about what is the Sigma level, the multiple ways to find Sigma level. And we got to learn about all ways to find Sigma level. We'll just pick up one basic introduction part. We'll just at least understand how Sigma level gets calculated. And this is only one method. But for now, before we move to that part, we need to understand at least what is this Sigma level. When we say Six Sigma, or are there other levels? Yes, we have other levels also. When we say Sigma level, what does it mean? It's a defect measuring scale. It's a weird definition, but yes, that's what it is. It is the fact that it's a defect measuring scale. It doesn't tell you how good you're doing. It tells you how bad you're doing. And that's what we said with Six Sigma. Your process is operating at 3.4 defects in a million. It's measuring the defect rate. It doesn't measure how good you're doing. Since you know your defect rate, you can convert that into quality percentage. But it doesn't measure your quality. It measures your defect. That's the scale it works on. So if you talk about scales, well, it has a 0 sigma also. We have 1 sigma, 2 sigma, 3 sigma, 4 sigma, 5 sigma, 6 sigma, 7 sigma, 8. It's never ending scale. It's just a scale and goes on and on. And it's never ending scale. It goes on. So leave it here. Similarly, it goes to the negative side also. Do we have negative sigma? Why not? It's just a scale. It's a measurement scale, which tells you how many defects are happening in your process. That's all. So if I refer to this scale, and if I go by the logic of Six Sigma, generally we say if your process is operating at Six Sigma level, when a process is making about defects in a range of 3.6 maximum up to 3.6 defects in 1 million, that's when you say my process is working at Six Sigma level. So it measures the defect rate, and then it assigns a number, which is a Sigma level. So is it the best can we get? Like, so we're learning the Six Sigma, but is it the best we can get to? Or is there anything better possible than Six Sigma? Are the industries working better than Six Sigma? The answer is definitely yes. It's not the best Sigma level. We have industries working at 12 Sigma level. Your aviation industry, that's working around 12 Sigma. Your pharma industry is working around 10 Sigma, 11 Sigma. For that matter, you've been talking about semiconductors. Semiconductors is about 11 Sigma. We have your NASA and space programs, they're around like 12 Sigma. Well, these are critical industries. When we talk about, these are few rare industries, but they are critical. They're critical because every single defect is going to be huge cost in terms of life also. Well, people, so just think about a situation. Would you be happy and comfortable boarding a plane when you know that out of 1 million flights that will take off, 3.4 might crash? Well, you will not be comfortable. Well, because every single error is a huge cost. These, for aviation industry, and talking about the air traffic control, not the baggage control. Baggage control is horrible, because baggage control across the globe, if you talk about on average, it's about 3.5 Sigma level. But when we talk about air traffic control, it's at around 12 Sigma level. But pretty much this is absolutely not possible for an industry like aviation industry to work at a Six Sigma level. It's horrible for them. Every single error is a huge cost in terms of people may die. There's a cost as well. Pharmaceutical industry, we talk about this COVID vaccines. Why there's so much of hue and cry about COVID vaccine? Why can't we make vaccine and just give it to everyone? No, so many people can die. One wrong vaccine, one wrong decision, and so many people can be crippled. throughout their life. And that's what it is so critical. So these are critical industries, but they're only very, very few handful industries. But yes, now why do we call, why we're studying Six Sigma level? Then why don't we talk about 12 Sigma course? Why we talk about Six Sigma course? Why it has been made as this is technically the standard? Why we have chosen a subs like something which is lesser as a standard? Why? Because beyond this, you generally need automation. It's very, very difficult to reduce errors, anything beyond this, because there will be human errors. There's a possibility of error will always be there. We will make mistakes. So it's automation is the answer. You go ahead and incorporate those all those automations, the AI methods, and all those other methods for that matter, robotic process automation, RPAs have been incorporated. But even for that, you need to stabilize the process. So stabilization will be done by Six Sigma. And that's when you go with the automation. You cannot automate a process which is unstable, and then it creates erratic results, because then you will be creating errors at an even faster rate. If you have a process which is automated, which is not stable, will create even more errors. So it's very important to first stabilize the process. And there's a foundation will always be laid down by Six Sigma. Then you can go ahead and automate. Well, and not every industry wants to go beyond Six Sigma. Probably some companies would be happy with Four Sigma. Some would be very happy with Five Sigma. Though a lot of companies don't even want to go till Six Sigma as well, because this doesn't matter to them. Well, it doesn't want, we don't want to go even to a Six Sigma, forget for that matter, forget about higher Sigma levels. Why it doesn't matter? Well, think about a industry, this manufacturing of markers. Well, do you think this guy, if this guy's manufacturing 1 million whiteboard marker, and is making 3.4 defective markers, would he care about spending millions of dollars to get an automation in place and save the cost of 3.4 markers? Well, doesn't make business sense. Not every industry would like to go beyond this. So practically only where there's a critical industry, where there's life and death situation, well, that's when people have to go beyond Six Sigma, because Six Sigma is a horrible Sigma in that industry. But when the crux here is, higher the Sigma level, lesser the defect. It's important to reduce. When you reduce your defect, your Sigma level increases. So as your defect reduces, Sigma increases on the higher side. On the contrary, when we talk about these are basic numbers, just want to keep in mind, any which is you don't have to mug up anything, you can solve it immediately. Like this is when your process is 50% defect rate, your Sigma level will be 0. We'll just see that. It's a quick short formula. We'll be able to, and so we don't have to mug up these values. In general, we just need to understand the basic concept here. If defect rate increases, Sigma level reduces. It's inversely proportional. And if the defect rate is more than 50%, Sigma level will be negative. We'll just quickly check this out. So we will not get into the explanation of this because it will be early. We will be more likely discussing and doing all possible methods of calculation of Sigma level. But just to make sure that we're comfortable with the topic, we understand what is lean, but at least understand like there are simple formulas, and all which we need to do is to know what those formulas are, how to perform it. It's easy. It's not difficult. It's different. So if somebody tells me a defect rate, like and wants to find what is the Sigma level for this defect rate, then we pretty much we will get into this discussion. What is long-term Sigma? A Z is the symbol which with Z we use for Sigma, LT for long-term. So this is referred as long-term Sigma. That's one Sigma which is called long-term Sigma, and there's a short-term Sigma which is called ZST, or called current Sigma level. This is what we use for reporting and communication. So whenever people talk about Sigma level, this is what people always communicate is this short-term Sigma, not the long-term. This is not used for reporting, but calculation wise, this will come first. From long-term, we will derive the short-term Sigma. It's very simple, fairly simple.
One question, please.
Yes, please.
The Z, for what is it standing? The ZLT.
So this is basically there's a Z table basically. That's from which we derive this value. So so there's a sigma level. Like when we go in subsequent stages, we'll understand there's a Z distribution table basically. From there, the distribution based we'll understand that how data gets distributed based on which the sigma level are actually assessed. So basically, the Z is refers to the Z distribution table, which is a statistics table. From there, it's where the definition of Z is been derived from. Is that like, yeah?
That is a variant here.
Yeah. So no. So basically, it's been derived from the table, the definition, because it's been picked up from the Z table. It's a statistics table from which we pick it up. There's a data that when we plot the data graphically for analysis, we'll be using a Z distribution table from which this values will be derived. And from those, like, let me quickly just 1 second. I'll just most likely will have a Z distribution table, or at least I can show you some of these tables.
So Sven, I guess it's a chart, yeah?
Yeah, it's a chart. It's a log table. Basically, it's a log table from which we will be able to pick up these values. Let me quickly see if I have this handy with my, generally because this is going to be auto calculated here. But still, there will be a lot of log tables we might be seeing. This is Z table. There's some Z values. We'll be referring to the Z table. So we'll get to that part later. So these are Z values. That's how the sigma levels are getting derived from. So we'll get to that part.
Okay, yeah. So we add on the number on the left side, and LT is for long term,
yes,
and ST for short term.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, 100% correct.
Okay.
So we'll get to understand the difference between long term and short term. So how do we get it? I'm going to write down the formula and then I'll solve it. So I'm going to write down the formula so it's visible. Which is I'll be sharing this file that I'm working on. The formula is norm sin V. It's inverse of normal distribution, which will later definitely understand. This is defect. Whatever is the defect of the process divided by the total opportunities. That's the formula I'll be using. And how the short term is calculated, whatever you calculate as your long term sigma plus the fixed value of 1.5 is added. This is constant value, and that will give you the sigma level, which will be used for communication and reporting, is going to be the short term. So the actual sigma level which gets calculated is the long term. This is the actual sigma level. But what will be used for communication is plus 1.5. We will have to definitely understand in detail as to what is the meaning of long-term and short-term, because a lot of the definition lies there. What is the meaning of long-term, short-term sigma level, and why we're adding 1.5? What's the relevance of 1.5? What does it do? We'll have every clarification there. But for now, I'm sort of, we will leave it here, but that's the formula which is used. And plus 1.5 will give us short-term. We'll solve a couple of examples to understand at least how it's done. Like the only thing which we left out is the explanation, but this is the way it is going to be done. So pretty much the explanation is left over. For example, I'm doing some audits, and I did some audits and I found that I got 115 errors out of, say, some transaction, some process, some overall out of, say, some random number. These many transactions audited. Anything, it can be any audit. You got some errors out of some transaction, some audit that you did. Simple formula. That's the one that I've written here. Norm sin V 1 minus how many errors? 115 errors divided by the total 2587. Close the bracket, close the bracket. That gives you your long-term sigma. I'll say my long-term sigma is this, but that's not going to, which will be used for communication. What we will end up reporting is my process current sigma level is 3.2. So when you made these 115 errors out of 2,587 total audits that we did, your process is at 3.2 sigma level. Let's kind of quickly talk about one more here. See, we were expecting like roughly, I guess, 8 participants, or including me, in this session. So while we start the session right on time, one participant was late to join because of some reason. So if I have to find attendance for this one, what is the sigma level for attendance? Well, one person was late out of 8. Can I find the sigma level? Yes, absolutely. Yes. Norm sin V 1 minus 1 person was late out of 8. That's the defect rate. And that's the sigma level for the training. So For today's attendance, the sigma level is 2.65 sigma. For you can calculate sigma level for anything. For randomly somebody says, well, I need to know what is the sigma level of 45% defect rate. Well, sigma level is right here. Non-sin week 1 minus 45 divided by 100. That's my sigma level, current sigma level, process sigma level will be reported as 1.62. Couple of more just to kind of get the clarity here. Say we did a 50%, just to give you that 0%, this 0. How does 50% is 0 sigma level? We'll get a 0 here. At 50%, norms will be 1 minus 50 out of 100. That's 0 sigma, will be reported as 1.5 sigma at 50%, but the actual sigma, we'll get to that part, but that's 1 sigma, another sigma is the current sigma. What if you had like 60% defect rate? You will see a negative. Just want to give you all those perspective plus minus so that we know all types of sigma level exist depending on the data. So we don't control data, so we don't know what it will look like. So whatever it may be, based on if till the time my formula is correct, my answer is correct here. Last but not the least, why leave 6 sigma? We've been saying 3.4 defects in a million. Let's validate that. We've been saying 3.4 defects in 1 million opportunities will give you 6 sigma level. Let's validate that definition. 3.4 in 1 million is going to give you 6 sigma plus 1.5. See, when we say 6 sigma, it's actually 3.4 defects in a million is what we report as 6 sigma level of the process. The only way we communicate, everyone communicates is this. So in the reports, in the communication, everyone will be doing this. So we actually, this is the actual sigma which gets calculated, and it is what will be given in the table. If you use Minitab as a software, this software, we will be using the multiple ways to find it. Not even, this is one method, multiple, and we have to understand every possible way. So you can do reverse calculation also. You can, somebody gives you sigma level, wants to know at so and so sigma level, what will be my quality percentage? What will be my defect percentage?
Sir, one question, please.
Yes, please.
So the do we measure failure modes in sigma?
Yes. Yeah, we do.
So if we want to interpret, a failure mode, we will measure it in sigma, yeah. And when we reach 6 sigma, the failure mode is low, and when we have the failure mode like 1 or 1.2 sigma, as you mentioned in line 55, column G, so it would be bad performance.
Yes, you can use that in failure modes also. Yes, because it's a failure rate. Yes, so you can definitely use that. See, it's more about application of it. So good that you're thinking on those lines, because even a failure mode, see, generally we have not been using this on FMEA as such, but why not? See, these tools are tools, and they are meant for analysis, meant for usage and customization. So you rightly said, I would like good that you brought that up. Yes, why can't? Because if you're calculating the failure mode on this one, and then you have those risk rates, and you will be able to definitely calculate sigma levels without any doubt. You're right about that. So higher sigma, like higher defect rate will have a lower sigma level. So that's what it will make sense there as well in FMEA. You're right about that. So we will be any which was getting into this. Yeah, please, sir.
Yes, another question from my side. So if we are communicating about sigma levels, we are using the short-term sigma, correct?
Yes, only
and
this.
The long-term sigma is only for the calculation, or is another purpose we should use the long-term sigma for?
It is actually, see, when we talk about this one, this is the actual sigma level. Technically, this is the actual, and we'll get to understand. See, Motorola is the one who created this, and this is more about process will show some bit of variation. The process will drop from this level to this level, and that's what it is for. So we will get to understand the exact reasoning why 1.5, what was the logic about 1.5, why not something else. So this is basically talks about with time, everything deteriorates, and there will be deterioration in the process. When you work on 6 sigma level also, when you improve a process, the process sigma level will drop with time, because that's what happens when you improve a process. When you do a project, sigma level of the process after improvement will be high. But even the process is in control, it is going to lose some of the sigma level, because process will experience more variations in coming days, and that's when the process sigma level will drop and we'll get to this level. We'll see that part of it when we get to that, the entire logic. So we have to understand the difference between long term and, but ideally this will never be used in the communication. But the irony here is, pick up any book on statistics or Six Sigma, the only sigma level which will mention will be this one. You are using formula and it's giving you only long term. This is only because it's coming from statistics. You pick up Minitab. When we use Minitab for calculating sigma level, it is only going to give you long term only. This is a manual addition which we have to do. And even when you prepare reports, Minitab will publish reports for us. It will give you long term. You have to manually add 1.5 in that for communication purposes. And this is culture globally, everyone. So whenever people talk about sigma level, we got to understand they have added 1.5 in the actual, and they're talking about current sigma level, because there's no one, unless specifically stated that it is long term, it has to be short term only. This is nowhere used, but the actual calculation happens here. The irony is that this is the real sigma level, but it's reported as this one. If I look at the Z table, it is going to take like, so we will sort of understand how to read and understand this sigma level table, but just to kind of demonstrate, nothing gives you current sigma level. If I look at this, is the sigma level is 4.5 at 3.4 defects in 1 million, it says 4.5 sigma. If I look at 4.5 in this table, see this 4.5, it is 3.40 E0. This is 3.4 defects exponential 6. This is 10 to the power 6. So 3.4 defects in 1 million opportunities at 4.5 sigma level. That is the real sigma. So actual sigma is the long-term sigma, which will be reported as 6 sigma. But yeah, we will have to understand the entire reasoning of long-term, short-term, why 1.5. That logic has to be understood, because the sigma level which gets calculated in both the cases, we will get to because there are multiple ways, and we have to understand the manual way of getting to that point, and that's how we will be able to interpret that better. But see, just about method is going to be this. Only what is due at from my end is the explanation. So for that, we have to get understand some bit of background about the normal distribution and all those things before we get to this point. So we will get there, but just to give you a quick perspective, at least you can start assessing your processes and you can start applying this. And see, it's more about, as I said, it'll be more about demonstration, about doing it and then understanding how it's done. So if you're going through some formulas, you can try and start relating with your process and start measuring the signal. You have one method, you'll have more methods as we go forward. But yes, this is one, just to give you a quick heads up that we should know the formulas only. That's all. We will get we will create a lot of tables, templates, and we will just put in the value. It will calculate everything for you. I'll be sharing a lot of templates with you all. So you just need to kind of plug in your values into it. Does every possible calculation that you want to do about any data for that matter. So we will rather giving you a template, we will rather create those templates. So you will know the formulas. It's easy to just share a template, but how that works, so if there's customer which has given me some sort of requirement that I want to say, for example, I have to maintain a temperature within a certain range, like in a facility, like when I'm sort of doing some lab research or something. It could be any two specifications. So we'll be talking about this, what is lower specification, upper, because there is a bounds. I have to maintain this range. Say there is a customer which has given me a range of, I have to maintain within 20 and 50. My process should range between 20 and 50. Anything less than 20 will be defect. More than 50 will be defect. So till the time my process is ranging between 20 and 50, it's good. I will find what is my process average based on the process data. We'll understand these terms and everything. We will do the calculation. So if I just plug in the value, we will get to know what is the defect rate of your process, what is the quality of your process, what is the sigma level. Everything is simply just plug in the value, everything is calculated. This is about predicting in the process average, not about the sample that you're auditing. It's not going to tell you the sample averages, sample process quality. It's going to tell you the process quality. The difference is sample and process. You might be picking up some sample for auditing. Probably you picked up 100 samples, but based on those 100 samples, you're trying to predict about the process quality. This is telling you the process quality, not about the sample quality. So we will go ahead and kind of understand all this. So you will still have this template, but you would know how to write these formulas yourself. So there won't be you would not be dependent on any template as such. You would still have it for use, but you can write all these formulas yourself. So we'll go through a lot of them as we move forward. But yes, pretty much this is basic perspective, what is lean and Six Sigma. But if it's okay with everyone, please do let me know in case it's fine. Is it okay?
Yep. Yeah, all fine.
Perfect. We will not go and do a deep dive into history, but honestly, because that will not be applied in the projects. But yes, some bit of history could be a part of your assessments. So that's why we will just go in like a high level, and just to kind of make sure at least we know those basic whereabouts, how did it start, the history of lean and history of Six Sigma, and we sort of briefly move on. At least we should know that concept, that part of it. So the first evidence that lean, where we have the evidence available, where we can say that lean got implemented for industrial purposes, for a purpose that we wanted to quantify, show some improvement. Lean implementation was shown with Ford Motors. Ford Motors were the one who, this was led by your, what was his name? Mr. Ford. I'm not able to recall his name.
Henry Ford.
Henry Ford. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Henry Ford. And that this was the earlier manufacturing globally used to happen through something called crafts manufacturing. Now, craft manufacturing, what used to happen, people used to move from one part to another. If we talk about cars, so technically when they were manufacturing cars, the cars were stationary. So one car which is being manufactured here, it's locked at a place, and there was not movable. It was immovable. So car was built at one place. So another car is being built at one place. They are stationary cars, and people used to move from one car to another to make and build this car at this place. So if I'm fitting in bulb in a car, I will move with all the bulbs, fit in the bulbs in this car, then drag the remaining bulbs to this car, come and fit in the bulbs this car, and this drag to the remaining bulbs. Somebody is fitting in tire with moving all the tires, and that was a very, very slow process. And because of this movement, the spare parts used to get damaged. That was craft manufacturing. Globally, everyone was doing similar job in other industries also. So people were moving and parts were stationary. That's the problem in this one. It was very slow process. Lots of damage used to happen to the spare parts. That was the older version. In 1908, they came up with assembly line concept that is used till date. Assembly line concept, which we refer as conveyor belt concept. Basically, here parts started moving on a belt, and people became stationary. So there were no movement required. So there was a moving belt on which the car used to kind of move to this guy. So this guy is fitting in bulb. This sitting with all the bulbs right here. If it's in the bulb, the car moves to the next guy. This guy is fitting in the tires. So if it's in the tires, if this guy fits in the seats, and so on and so forth. So this was a very, very fast process. It speeded up the process. This was lean. Lean is all about speed. Lean is all about time. Well, the older version, when it says that their production capacity for Ford was about 32 to 35 cars per month. That was all that was manufactured. They had monopoly with that. There were few cars manufactured in those days. But this sort of brought mass production concept because it was faster. Everything was there. Production capacity increased 3 to 4 times. And that started the mass production concept. People were no longer dragging the material. Now, this concept was incorporated by a lot of other people. Globally, it became the phenomena. And the biggest thing, the word lean was not given by Ford. Or what they did was lean, but lean did not came from them. Lean was introduced by Toyota. These guys were the game changer. Toyota introduced this word lean, gave the word lean, a collection of lean tools, what they call as Toyota production system. They till date use this methodology of lean tools. Toyota sort of crafted this entire lean thing, and not only Toyota benefited from this, and practically everyone in Japan was sort of inclined towards quality, because post the Second World War, the entire economy was crippled. They were in a bad shape because of they being continuously engaged in the war. They were in a bad shape. Plus, because of bombarding, things were in a bad shape. The entire country could have collapsed, or they had only one choice to to like move up north with the given resources. They were not in a position to compete with US. We had the Ford Motors or General Motors, but they understood we can't beat them in volume. There's no way. We don't have the kind of infrastructure or capital. Yes, we can only beat them with quality. So yes, we may produce very less cars, but these cars will be the best cars. So the logic was completely customer centric. With the given resource, we will craft a car which is going to be much cheaper for the customer, end customer, more reliable, more comfort, every possible sense. It should be better, especially designed keeping the end customer in mind. And that's what they did. It's always a necessity is the mother of invention. They had no choice. They created that, and practically people loved it. People loved Toyota cars for the reliability, the comfort. They were cheaper. They soon started getting the market, like the investors started pulling in money. The problem resolved. And this logic was not only incorporated by Toyota, but various other companies in Japan were blossoming because of this lean concept. And that was a new phenomenon for everyone else. People were still trying to struggle because these newly mushroomed Japanese companies were giving tough competition to everyone globally. It was hurting somebody else as well. That's what started Six Sigma. History of Six Sigma is linked with lean as well. There was big giant Motorola. Motorola had complete monopoly in two products. Motorola pagers and Motorola walkie-talkie. These guys were so they had complete monopoly, because even if you check out on YouTube, you'll find a video where this first satellite which landed on the moon, this guy is using if you can check out, you will get the video where this guy is holding the mic, which has Motorola logo on it. They were like so big. Well, these guys started getting tough competition from Japanese counterparts, the new companies which have started. They were manufacturing pages, which were much better, cheaper than Motorola ones. Their walkie-talkies, the companies started, which were much better than Motorola. They started losing market share significantly. Customer had choices, customer getting better products at cheaper price. Investors started leaving Motorola, funding Japanese companies, and they were in a bad shape. The owner of Motorola, Bob Galvin, not owner, but the CEO, basically, he sort of funded the project. The project was assigned to the senior scientist in research and development, Bill Smith. Bill Smith is also known as father of Six Sigma. Along with this gentleman, there was another person, Dr. Michael Harry, spelled as M-I-K-E-L. He was a co-architect of Six Sigma. He was assistant scientist along with him. So these two people were responsible for putting up something together which can beat the so-called lean, because they're bleeding because of lean, which sort of Japanese had mastered. Yes, in 1986, they announced it to the world that we have come up with Six Sigma. Now, that was a new term for everyone. Well, they were definitely fascinated people, because when they declared that this could give you this level of performance, that was unbelievable. Because in that generation, processes with say 90% quality was even good, and Japanese companies were striving somewhere like 99% kind of quality, which was unbelievable. With lean, you could probably get to a level of 99% kind of quality. Beyond that, lean struggles because it can only solve visual challenges. What is beyond visual, when you want to take it beyond lean, you need Six Sigma. So lean is the foundation, but beyond, when you want to become a market leader, break through change, that's when you need Six Sigma. Beyond you still see a problem, but you can't fix it. That's when you need Six Sigma. They were able to get that. And yes, they regained every bit of it, every market, the market share, investors, everything. Well, even Japanese got shock of their life. Well, thanks to Bob Galvin. He was a noble soul. He kind of never tried to keep it as a secret, proprietary information. So they invited a lot of people from across industry to come and visit Motorola facility, see how Six Sigma projects were done, how data analysis helped them to stabilize the process and remove the defects in the process. And practically a lot of people visited and they conducted seminars. Well, ABB, which is still there, and one of the big companies who uses Six Sigma predominantly, even till date, Allied Signal, Honeywell, these three companies started Six Sigma, incorporated Six Sigma as a company philosophy across the board. And practically when they reported the cost saving, not the revenue, in billions of dollars just because of Six Sigma project. But that was talk of the town because they were big in terms of size, the volume. They reported even like more benefits than Motorola. where it started actually. Dr. Michael Harry was actually hired by Allied Sigma or Honeywell, which I don't recall, but actually they were incorporated Six Sigma. He was hired there. So when later on, the biggest game changer stepped in. That's what made it so popular. General Electric. These guys changed the definition of Six Sigma for everyone. This was led by Jack Welch. Jack Welch, who was the CEO, he incorporated Six Sigma as a company philosophy for improvement, continuous improvement. And yes, these guys contributed a lot to Six Sigma. The name and fame which Six Sigma got was because of General Electric. Even till date, if somebody wants to be in a management role in General Electric, you have to be Six Sigma certified. Their company believes and breathes Six Sigma, top to bottom. Everyone knows Six Sigma. That's how they're critical about even till date. When you talk about Six Sigma stages that we will be going through, there are 5 different distinct stages: DMAIC. D stands for defined, M for measure, A for analyze, I for improve, and C for control. In define phase, what we do is we select the right project. You cannot solve world's hunger in one day. You've got to select the right project. You don't have abundance of everything. You have limited capital, limited resources, and you have to prove a point by selecting the right project. So selection of right project is very, very important. And that's why this is purely about project management. No statistics involved here, just about project management out here. Measure phase is when you sort of baseline the process data. You collect data, which is reliable. Collect reliable data for analysis, so you understand where my process is, so baseline process, understand what is my current situation as of now. Well, given I have to improve, let's understand where do we stand right now, where and how far we have to reach. So this will involve statistics. This will involve quality management. Well, analyze phase is all about using statistical tools and techniques to find the real root cause, which is why we're facing the problem. Again, this is statistics and quality management. Improve phase, you have a project target which you need to achieve. So achieve the target. Again, statistics plays a role here. Statistics and quality management again. This is about sustain the improvement. Well, you improve something with Six Sigma, it will stay improved. It will never go back to the original state where it started from. So back to this. So if you look at this, these subsequent phases is all about data and quality management. So practically that's when we'll be using Minitab. But first thing, well, we don't need it. Well, contribution from General Electric was defined phase. The older version of Six Sigma had only 4 phases, MAIC. General Electric said, you guys have definitely created great stuff. Well, it can help us, but you're missing a trick here. You must pick up the right project. Just don't pick up any project. You've got to pick up the right project because you have to justify ROI. So you may be having 20 different problems. You can't pick up any problem. You have to be sensible enough. So, well, that's where the defined phase comes into picture. They added, so MAC become DMAIC, post General Electric sort of got into it. So this is basically the courtesy because of General Electric. So more like from a history standpoint, this is what it is. And having said that, just want to talk about this quick one here, control phase. But these guys were biggest copycats where they did nothing in the control phase. This is about control charts. We call it as control charts. We call it as SPC charts, or we call it as statistical process control charts, or well, you may call it many ways, statistical process control charts, or you may call it as Sheward charts. Why? Because Dr. Walter Sheward, he introduced control charts in 1920s. In 1920s, they were tried, tested, proven, successful. People were already using it to control the process, to sustain the improvement, well, to ensure the process remains stable. Well, they were using, this was tried in 1920s, and since then people were already using it. So they just didn't do anything, just copied and made a control phase out of it. So this is purely about control charts, how to stabilize the improvement. You've got some target, you've achieved it, the phenomenal result. You don't want to lose it. So lock that process at that level, freeze that process at that level so it doesn't show you any variations. So that's where control charts comes into picture. So these guys just did nothing. It's just about copy and paste. But that's pretty much about the history part of it. Now, is it okay with everyone? Sort of journey, how things evolve?
Yeah, it's just like DMAIC was found, yeah?
Yes, that's how it was found. Yeah. All right. So so generally for these sessions, like we've been taking about 10 to 15 minutes break. So is it fine? Shall we take a quick 10 minutes break and rejoin in next 10 minutes?
That's fine.
All right. All right. So
Yeah,
let's,
okay.
let's connect in next 10 minutes and resume from there.
Okay, see you soon.
All right. Thanks. Thank you.
Ich hätte jetzt gedacht,
Thanks.
wenn wir jetzt Blanco gewesen wären, hätte ich abgedacht.
Are we back from the break?
Yeah.
Right, perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, we're back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So before going on the break, we talked about the history, how sort of things evolved with time with reference to this.
Sorry for interrupt. Sorry. Just one question.
Yes.
Because we discussed in the break, and we ask ourselves, or we would like to ask you, how can we prepare ourselves for these sessions that we go through the first time, and that we can work a little bit in, for our own in the beginning.
I will be like, so before I upload this file, I will be sharing because it's the first session today. So subsequent topics which will be discussed, I will sort of share that the list of the topics with you all in case that helps. So I can share. So by the time we sort of like end the day, like so when I'm uploading the file, I will share the list of topics which will be covered in the subsequent in the next session. So you will always know it, like you can prepare around those topics. So based on your the elements that you have, you'll have the information there, so you can kind of refer to those topics there to get clarity.
Okay, so is there a yes, and please.
Yes, so the IMC provided us a PDF with nearly 540 slides.
Yes.
So
yes.
is it relatable to the course? Can we scroll through these pages and prepare ourselves, or how is it related to the video or the course we're taking right now?
See, it's the same content. Like it's not the content is different, but yes, whenever we talk about any slides or books, the books have been structured from a topic perspective, not how real world project goes through. So you might still be able to find those topics. So I will share the list of topics. You will be able to scroll through that PDF. You will be able to find those topics. So yes, you can go through the topics. You'll be able to get that understanding. But the book, it may not be structured in the same way, because and like not only this book, like the PDF that you got from there, but any other book also, because generally people who have written the books, they're more of the people who understand stats and all. So they have been clustered from by topic wise rather than how a project flows. So we'll try to kind of give you a complete roadmap. So for define phase, so today what all topics we'll be covering. So when we start a particular phase like define, so we'll first prepare the index of all the topics which are going to be discussed. So that's where you can always cross check with that document there. So like you will be able to get read through that document as well. I hope that answers the question.
So we cannot structure the the presentations with some pages from the book or stuff, that we can have some pictures that we can talk about, that we can take notes for ourselves in.
Yeah, so let's say that say for example in define phase, we're going to list down, say the topic wise how a project actually flows. So first, what do you do? Second, what do you do? So those topics will be available in the book, in that say define phase. In the define phase of that slide, you will be able to find those topics. But some topics I'll be sharing like additional templates which are generally practiced. So I will be sharing some additional stuff as well. So this is more from project perspective.
Okay, I'll be honest, because I'm feeling a little bit lost, because I in general you're doing a great job, and there is you really do what you really know what you do, but I'm sometimes a little bit fast. I cannot follow because I don't know, it's so much information, and if we could prepare something before we start what we're talking about, then it might be easier for us to follow, or for me in general.
Sure. No, so as I said, like before I upload this file for day 2, before like, so you'll have the topics which will be discussed. So you can prepare from the PDF that's been shared. Okay. You'll have, I'll share, and so I'll document that in the file. Okay,
and the stuff you're sharing for the second session, this is also in the right it's chronologic, that you will go through the topics like on the pages with the PDF. So and not that you're sharing the PDF, nor the topics and stuff are in the same direction or in the same.
It may not be. It may you may not find that in the same sequence, because books, any book for that matter, not on the PDF which is shared by IMC, but any book also will not be in the sequential, because that's not how a project actually flows. So that's where the gaps lie. So we see with a lot of people actually, when they complete the certification, so the two aspects to it. One is when you read the content, we consume the content, and when we write an exam. And second, when we, with that knowledge, practically the gap lies that after that, people have not been able to do the projects. So from a consulting, when we deal with the corporates, when we sort of like having a training for the corporate session, because it's more about when we go through training, you should be able to implement this same thing immediately when we sort of, so we did some activity, should be able to go and apply that logic and that portion. Say we complete a defined phase, you should be able to kind of start working on those. So you have a sequential flow of it. Like otherwise, like if you talk about like the slides perspective, slides may be up, like it may not be in the same sequence, it may be, but more like it will be in the defined phase slides. So it will be, you'll be able to find those topics in those slides for sure. It's not that it's out of the slides. It is going to be part of it. Definitely, yes. But probably like, so let me,
I would,
yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest that we try this for the next session. So you provide us the topics you're talking about. We try to prepare ourselves and then maybe give you feedback after the next day or the next session, if we can proceed it that way or just to improve it a bit.
Makes sense, sir. Absolutely, perfect. Yeah, we can go with that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, sir. Perfect. All right. So the next thing that we would like to kind of go ahead and discuss is about the different belts that we have in the Six Sigma. Like we are going through a Greenbelt program. What are other belts in the and what is the expected role of different belts in a Six Sigma program, like in a structure? So technically, we're referring to the belts and roles of in Six Sigma basically. So first, we have something called a white belt as well. We have a yellow belt. We have then a green belt. So we compare a green belt with black belt, so we understand the difference. When we execute projects are either implemented as a green belt project or a black belt project. Then you have a master black belt. Then we have a champion, which is not a Six Sigma professional here. That's from management's point of view, and then sponsor. We will be, as Six Sigma professionals, we will be dealing with these nomenclatures, so we should know what they are and practically what is our relationship with the different belts and roles. As white belt, what do we mean? Like somebody who's become a white belt, what is that we learn in a white belt? Technically, you cannot, this is more about maximum like a 3 to 4 hours of session, that's all. So that's the max 3 to 4 hours of session where you trained on basic word about what is Six Sigma. So just an overview of Six Sigma is given. This is more from awareness training, overview of Six Sigma, which is just an overview training. Max a case study is discussed where you sort of, when you want to go ahead and create a culture for Six Sigma, it's important to sensitize people. It's important for us to kind of create an awareness among the staff, everyone, that this is what is Six Sigma. So tomorrow, when you're implementing a project, well, it should not come back as a surprise. But for people like, what is Six Sigma? Well, it's just about creating an awareness. You do not become a part of a project by becoming a white belt. Just a basic, very, very basic aware about like how people have implemented Six Sigma, how they have benefited it. Basically, the success stories and all. You don't get to learn about tools and techniques in white belt. Coming to yellow belt program, when this is technically a complete one-day training, where the yellow belt will go through like an overview of DMAIC. Obviously, within one day, you cannot learn the complete project. You don't lead a project. So you don't lead a project as yellow belt. You become a member. So we really need yellow belts in the team, because these people will understand your language that you communicate in, like in terms of Six Sigma language, the slangs that we use. So we might talk about, we want to make a Pareto chart. We have to do a ANOVA analysis. We have to do a fishbone diagram. Well, they will understand your language. They will get the required information for you. They'll get the data collected for you. So you definitely need people in your team when you're working on projects to have because you are more of a strategy maker, you're more from analysis perspective, but their work has to be executed. So these people will be very much required for you to kind of get the work done. So they're very important resources in a project team. Project leading capacity sort of roles start when you're talking about a green belt or a black belt. That's where you become a project manager. You lead a project as a green belt or as a black belt. So basic difference in project management, like in terms of the difference in green belt and black belt. Project management skills, practically both are same. Why? Because both have to lead a complete project from define till the control. You cannot have differences there with reference to the project management skills. Well, the difference comes in extensively, like in terms of statistics exposure. This is low to medium exposure from statistics standpoint. This is extensive. Why? Because we have a component which we discuss as design of experiments, which is very complicated because it's highly statistical in nature. So this is where it becomes like we will be when we go through the statistics part, we will be only talking about a normal distribution. We'll understand what is normal distribution, but the other things also. Data will acquire different shapes and data will be of different types. That's what goes into the black belt zone. So that gets more, little more complicated there. But from a green belt perspective, it's like low to medium kind of exposure. Role of the people in a green belt kind of role. Well, technically, this is not a guideline. There's no guideline as such, but this is the culture globally. Green belt only works within their department. Black belt works cross-functional. Now, is that a rule? No, absolutely not. But that's the culture. Why is that a culture? Well, because there's a 70-30 work ratio. They're not 100% free. They only work on 30% on projects. So if I'm an HR person in my organization, if I've gone through an HR Six Sigma training, I will still be doing my 70% of HR job. 30% of the time, I will be solving problems within HR using my Six Sigma knowledge. Since I'm billable to the HR department, my cost center is HR. So obviously the HR, when they have invested in my salary, they're paying me salary, they would be obviously like the one who will be entitled to get the benefits of it. So that's the reason why green belts work within the department, because the salaries are paid, unless somebody is a shared resource. Black belts are 100% project resources. There will be all 100% on project. They will be working with various stakeholders within the organization. They will be trying to solve the problems. They will be interacting with them to gauge what all challenges you're facing, what can we help you with. So practically, they will be working with various stakeholders. Typical duration of a green belt project. If you do a project, a real life project, typical duration of a green belt project will last between 4 to 6 months. A black belt project would last about 9 to 12 months in general, because they're more complex. Multiple departments might have been looped in. It generally takes more time. They're more complex in nature. Well, having said that, again, this is average, most of the project. That doesn't mean that all projects will take this much time. Some projects could finish early. Some projects can take even longer time. It's quite possible, but this is typical duration of a green belt or black belt project. There's more difference from cost saving perspective, and that's completely dependent on the management. Well, your definition of a green belt or black belt based on cost saving will be decided by your management. So every organization tends to have their own definition, which is defined by the stakeholders there. So for General Electric, that's what GE uses. Well, that's their definition. Less than $10 million, they cost saving, they refer it as a green belt project. And if it's more than $10 million, they call it as a black belt project, based on cost saving criteria. It could be different for different companies. If it's a massive company, they might have a different scale. If it's a small scale organization, they might have a different scale. So there's no common yardstick for having this definition. It will be only dependent on the stakeholders within the organization to decide. Now that brings us to master black belt. Well, who is the master black belt? Technically an experienced black belt. Experienced black belt who becomes eligible for becoming a master black belt. And this person will be at one point in time, will be managing about, the team size is about 8 to 12 people at the time, and would be managing about like similar, like 10 to 12 projects at time. but does nothing. Why? Why? Because Greenbelt does Greenbelt job, Blackbelt does Blackbelt job. So he has a team of a Greenbelt and Blackbelt mix of it. So technically, Greenbelt is managing the Greenbelt project, Blackbelt is managing Blackbelt project. They're more of a mentor or guide. If somebody gets stuck, coaching, guide, that guidance part is done by them. They will be acting as a mediator between the Six Sigma team and the management. Generally, the Six Sigma teams are referred as process excellence team. Well, you may see variations, but most common nomenclature is process excellence, operational excellence, and business excellence teams. So these are different nomenclatures that we may see, and you could see variations also. So generally, these departments are headed by the master black belt, who directly reports to the CEO or CXOs and all. So practically, they will be responsible to kind of bring about a change in the organization in terms of profit. In the end, it matters. The profit metric is discussed. So practically, they will be engaging with every department to find out like what else can be solved in your department. Now, that's why the belts end. The Six Sigma belts technically end there. A lot of people call champion as a part of Six Sigma. Absolutely not. They're not. It's not a belt. People have been naming champion as a belt. That's wrong. Who is the champion? This is owner of the project from the management side. It's not a Six Sigma professional. Well, can be a Six Sigma professional, but this designation. So we people from Six Sigma, we call somebody as a champion who's the owner of the project. Technically, my client is the champion. Generally, these champions or VPs are generally referred as champions. VPs would be the one who will be for a department, or VP, you can say head of a department is the champion, who's where the project is going to be done. If it's an operation, then the head of operation. If it's HR, it's head of HR. Various departments heads would be the champion who wants to solve a business problem in their area, in their department. Would be based on the scope of work they have. They have a problem which they want to solve. Now, they are responsible for the project success or failure. Well, practically they are the owners of the project. So we are just facilitator. We're just getting the project done for them. They are the one who will be responsible. So all the credit will goes to them, all the failures goes to them. Practically, they will be ruthless in terms of follow-up. Because why? Because they would get the project approved from the sponsor. Sponsor has a simple job. Funds the project. There's no other role for a sponsor. So champion convinces the sponsor that we've got a problem. We try to solve this, but again and again, this problem reoccurs. So we're going to engage the Six Sigma team, and there will be an additional cost for this when this is the benefit. So the champion convinces the sponsor. So in the end, well, it will be the champion who will be answering those questions to the sponsor on the ROI part, the success criteria. Well, it's what is the role of a champion here? Well, this person will be responsible for removing the roadblocks in the project. If somebody is giving you a tough time, somebody is giving a runaround, well, do not wait. It's important to look in champion immediately because this champion's project, which is getting hampered. So champion must be always kept updated. It should not be getting a second-hand information. It should always be the one who should get the update from you at what's going on in the project. If somebody is giving, because of which the project is going to get delayed, it's champion's project which is getting delayed. So it's important that this person, by the virtue of the designation this guy has in the management, will be able to solve that problem for us. Very important to engage them, have a very cordial relation with the champion. Champion himself or herself, maybe as an additional skill, maybe a white belt, might be a yellow belt, might be a green belt, might be a black belt, or maybe a master black belt himself or herself, doesn't matter, or maybe none. You don't need to be a Six Sigma professional to be a champion. It's your head of department. Well, that's a management's role. So it's not, well, yes, definitely if you have somebody who's Six Sigma certified himself or herself, then life is a lot more easier for you to explain what's happening in the process. where it's difficult to at times explain to the stakeholders when they're not statistically sound as to how to interpret the data. It's like, but we don't choose our champions. We cannot choose them. The bottom line, you have to live with it. You get mix of it. You may get at times somebody who's very statistically sound, and you may not get somebody who's very but that's a part and parcel of it. But bottom line, that these people will be very much, we will be continually engaging with them, because champion will be responsible. Champion will be responsible for approval, denial, or review of the project. Champion will be doing a constant review with you. So we'll talk about every phase, like define phase, there will be a toll gate review, which will be done by champion. There will be a review done at the end of measure phase. There will be a review done at the end of analyze phase. So at the end of every phase, there is a review which will be done by the champion. So champion is going to be on toes to get these things done, because in the end, champion is answerable. So champion will be on toes and will be ruthless in terms of follow-up. So it's very important to make sure that we have a very cordial relation with the champion to make sure we can keep the person updated. There will be a lot of help we get from the champion. We must, that resource, which is champion, we must utilize as a Six Sigma team. That's pretty much the typical roles and belts in Six Sigma. If that's okay, then we are good to move into the section of define phase. We can list down the activities if it's okay. In case you have any question, please let me
I have a question. You are specifically talking about Six Sigma projects.
Right.
What about the lean aspect? So you're always distinguishing between lean and Six Sigma, but every project is also a lean project, right?
Yeah, so this is by default. When you say now when we generally say Six Sigma, we cannot now eliminate lean out of it. So lean is definitely going to be a part of it without any doubt. So when we talk about this all these hierarchies and all these rules that we discussed, once upon a time, yes, people were only lean experts and people were either Six Sigma experts. But when you see that implementation of lean gets you some benefit and Six Sigma will give you some benefit, you use them separately, you get some benefit. But if you use them together, that will show you the true colors. And that's where people have stopped talking about lean or Six Sigma separately. When you say technically, it's both combination of both works together. So the way we will be going through is, again, it's a mix of it, because how things get transitioned from in the project, all the tools are sort of applied at the same time, both when they work parallelly. The both projects, lean part of it will be working parallelly and Six Sigma will be working parallelly. Good part is that they never conflict with each other. They always complement each other. The lean part of it, thanks, you brought that up, because when you talk about this phases, well, we know that define this as, if it refer to these phases, when do you start seeing an improvement, a result in the Six Sigma? You will get it late. Are you doing any improvement in the define phase? No, you're selecting the project. In measure phase, what are you doing? You're just collecting the data, validating the data, understanding where you stand right now from a profit process standpoint, understand how bad is the problem. So basically assessment of the problem has been done here. Baselining of the process is done. Analysis phase, you're still analyzing it. No improvement yet. Improvement will start showing up here. You have to wait. But lean doesn't have a waiting period. You get started the moment project gets approved. Lean will run parallelly, and by the time you're in improve phase, most of the problem, and technically most of the problem, will automatically be sorted by lean. Well, lean is the foundation. Most of the companies struggle because the basic whereabout, which is lean, is not in place. So by the time you're in improve phase, solutions would have already arrived because of lean. So things would have been much better from a Six Sigma perspective. So I hope that answers your question. It'll be like it's a mix of it. It's when we say Six Sigma, technically we're referring to lean Six Sigma projects. Is it fine?
Yes, okay.
All right, perfect. All right, so the next thing is what we're going to draft is more of our first index. So we have a clear idea about how do we go about completing a defined phase. When are we going and working on a project in the real world scenario? What will be the sequence of activities that we have to do at different stages? And that's what we will not be finding in a book. That's what we will not find the order or the sequence when how a project typically flows. So first thing first, when we're starting a project, there are two ways your project can start. In a defined phase, your project can start either you're given a project, which is practically the best situation to be in, where you will be saving a lot of time, will not be exploring the project. So you can simply get started with the project. Well, I'm taking the difficult route here. When you are working within an organization, you have a department of Six Sigma, and you sort of trying to explore projects by approaching various stakeholders, various departments to see what problem can we solve for you. So we're taking a difficult route. We're taking a step back where we have to explore and find a project. Life is a lot more easier when a management gives you a project. Well, this is the problem that you want to solve. Then you will skip a lot of things. You would not have to do a lot of things. We're taking the other way around, where we are exploring the projects, and then we're getting the projects approved, and then we move on. So first thing what we do is we collect voice of customer. VOC is voice of customer. We'll talk about, this is just the index that we're preparing. When you get the voice of customer, you classify voice of customer using affinity diagram. This is more of a raw data that you get initially when you collect the information from various sources. That's unstructured data, that's raw data. Well, we need to convert that into some sort of structured, meaningful data. This is about converting this into a structured data, so you can start having some discussion about it. So cleansing of data, regrouping of data is done in classify of VOC. When you get this done, VOC has to be prioritized. You can't solve all the problems, so you have to prioritize voice of customer, like which project would you be working on. Now there is a Six Sigma ISO standard also. So technically that's what we use is to prioritize the project. There's a standard of ISO 13053 2011, which is ISO standard of Six Sigma. But this tells us how a project needs to be prioritized. So there's a project prioritization matrix, which is what we will be using, which is as per the standard. You won't find this in that PDF. So I'll be sharing the template for that. So project prioritization matrix is used here to select the project, finally select the project. Now this voice of customer that you have selected, that this is the problem that we will be solving, we need to convert that into CTQ. CTQ stands for critical to quality. Well, fancy term. Well, why? Because it's the same as KPI. We have to find the KPI that you need to improve. Well, you can say, well, I want to improve profits. Well, how would you gauge profit? Are you going to count basically measure the data in absolute profit, like in terms of dollar or euro, or would you be measuring this in terms of profit percentage? Well, there are two different metrics you're looking at. Or you would be looking at reduction in cost, because if you reduce the cost, your profit improves. What is your project? So the metric has to be decided. So we use a tree diagram to kind of talk about this. Tree diagram is used to finally get to the project metric. At this stage, we say we've got a project identified. When you're given a project, you straight away given this, that what problem did you need to solve? You have to do a cost reduction project. You have to do a process to improve the productivity or probably improve the quality. Bottom line, you don't have to do all this if your management straight away gives you a project. Well, if you don't, then you have to follow all those methods to find the project. When you get the project, now you have to submit a project charter to the management. This is the first formal document that you submit with the management to seek an approval for the project. Well, you may not be the only one, and there are a lot of people who are trying out to get the project approved, and Champion will be reviewing multiple project charters, and finally the best project charter wins. So we have to understand and learn how a project charter needs to be drafted in a Lean Six Sigma world, what are do's and don'ts, what we got to keep in mind. We will draft one also. So basically, when you submit the project charter, generally there's a slang which we use, kickoff meeting. Even in project management, in my PMP stuff, we also teach this one. Kickoff meetings is general slang. We generally use when is a formal approval is given that yes, you go ahead with the project. So when your project is approved, that's when you need to add team members. So you already have some team members initially when you're writing the project charter. You have some core team members who are helping you work on the project charter, to draft it and share with the management. But there will be more people who needs to be added to the project, because you can't do it alone. You need people who will be responsible for executing. So team members are we talking about. The core strategy team is already with you while you're drafting the project charter. So here, says selection of team members will happen. Once you get that done, you set up project management tools. One will be communication plan. One is RACI or RASIC chart. You develop FMEA, which is risk management. So this is for managing all communications in the process, in the project. This is for roles and responsibility delegation. Who does what? FMEA is for risk management. So you have to kind of work on these. And remember, while we're talking about this, Lean is also parallelly happening. Yes. So this is purely about, at this stage, you submit the project charter to the management, and that's where will be the first review, which will be done. This is referred as toll gate review, which will be done by the champion. At the end of every phase, you have to submit the project, like you have to inform the management that we are done with the defined phase. They will review the project, and that's when the project will move on to the next one when they approve it. So practically at this stage, when you got your team members selected and all, at this stage also, you will be working on Lean parallelly. So the way we will go about studying this is what we will do. First, we will be covering up the defined phase, which is purely about project management. Then we will move on to the Lean part of it. And when we're done with the Lean, that's when we move on to the Six Sigma part of it, which is about the subsequent phases where we have got to deal with data. So because Lean will start immediately right here. When you got your project approved, your Lean will parallelly start moving on, because Six Sigma journey will be measure, analyze, improve, and control. Lean will have no waiting period. So you get your team members, you get going with the Lean implementation part. So we'll talk about Lean after this. But pretty much this is the roadmap that you have for defined phase. So we will be working on these things in the subsequent. So I'm not sure given the time, we may not be able to complete. So yes, the future topics are right here. So I will add on some of the Lean topics also, if in case we're able to, like, I don't think we will definitely need next session, we will be able to complete this one till this point. So for subsequent topics that we're referring to, yes, these are the topics that we will be sort of going through in between like today and the next session. So that's how you will be able to find these topics in the in case when you're going through the manual. Now, starting with the first thing first, when you talk about voice of customer, collecting voice of customer. So we will reach out to different stakeholders within the organization, and we will conduct a lot of so we collect voice of customer through different sources, different methods. We have surveys, which is very common. We have interviews. We can conduct interviews to collect that, have a face-to-face interviews with the customer. We can look at the feedbacks. We can look at the complaints. These are sources through which we are trying to explore what could be done for the project. We can have a brainstorming session done within the teams. We can talk about having more like of a, when you call it as focus group meetings. You can do that. You can look at past performance. We refer to the benchmarking. Basically, you look at how you're doing it. You benchmark yourself against your set target. Like, so say my quality is 90%. We aimed to get to a 99% kind of quality. So we know how we're doing. So based on your past performance, again, projects can be triggered. So we're just trying to gauge through different methods to collect information from various sources as to what can be worked on as a project. So yes, these are very, very commonly used methods. We nowadays talk about the metric called NPS, which is another metric, which is a lot of customers and stakeholders could be talking about NPS as Net Promoter Score, which has triggered as the most important criteria nowadays, when most of the corporates are actually going with the NPS score as a metric to enhance the customer experience. So that's the true metric which sort of helps you evaluate. When we talk about CSAT is an obsolete term. So CSAT is an outdated word when we talk about customer satisfaction score. Well, that's outdated because nobody cares about customer satisfaction anymore. Why? Because we are interested in customer delight. Gone are those days when you used to be a market leader, when your customers were just satisfied. So if you're measuring customer satisfaction, then you're pretty much measuring an outdated metric. You got to switch to Net Promoter Score. There could be more methods. It's nothing called a right or a wrong method. You always go and explore different ways and avenues to collect information from various stakeholders to find what is not working right for you. What is that we can work for you? Basically, you collect information. Quickly moving on to like service, let's briefly talk about this. When talk about service, we have been doing service for various things. We can do telephonic service, we can do a web-based service, we can do email-based service. Service are very, very common. We do all that stuff. So practically, these are very like sort of evergreen options. Interviews are best source if you have to really find a problem. But if you can speak with the customer, there's no better choice than interviews. Well, if live, why not hear it from the horse's mouth? Practically, you have your customer. There's no point in going round and round in circles when you can directly speak with the customer. Well, if we goofed up, well, there's no harm. Well, we are ready to accept. Well, we truly care about our customer experience. If it's not working fine for you, well, help us understand where did we go wrong, and we would be more than happy to fix that for you. Well, it's right way. I would always go with the interviews as my first priority, rather than going round and round in circles with the customers. Feedbacks, well, should be taken very positively. Every feedback or complaint, I would rather be happy to hear this. I would be thankful to the people who are giving these feedbacks and complaining about it. That sort of gives me a lot of still a hope that the customer still believes in my potential, because we are just an option. Because the customer could have silently moved to a different service provider, would have taken somebody else's services. But if the customer is giving a feedback, customer is complaining about it, that customer still believes that you can fix this for you. Practically, this is where I should take, like I would always go back and look into feedbacks and complaints, because these are my real customers who are using my product or service and they are not happy. Well, there's the first point I can go and get started when I look at the feedbacks and complaints. Brainstorming session is the most common way people get together to kind of talk about it and then collect information. That's, we gather information from various sources, which is one of it, brainstorming. Focus group meetings are always recommended in an organization users cross-functional. If I'm an operations guy, well, I'm doing a project with, we as an operations team wants to do some sort of improvement project, and we decide to do a project. Well, it's important to call a quick meeting with other departments as well. Call, at least have one representative from every department come in for a brief meeting where we tell them that that we are planning to do an improvement project and we would like to hear from you. What is that we can improve upon? Well, because it's important to gauge and get feedback from neutral parties. These are neutral parties. They do not have any vested interest in my process. Absolutely no. Well, these guys are trying to, if we are trying to understand, well, because see, if I'm working in like an operations team, I'm doing the same job day in, day out, every day without fail. It's business as usual for me. Things are normal. I do not see a problem as a problem, because I am also part of the problem. Somebody who's an outsider who doesn't have any vested interest in the process will be easily able to spot what's wrong. So it's important to take feedback from the cross-functional teams, which helps you to find out those issues which you can't see. So it's important to do a focus group meetings, always recommended. Past performances, we all do. Any which is we look at the past performance data. We do comparison of quarter on quarter, month on month. We do year on year comparison to see how much have we moved in terms of how much have we improved, how much did we deteriorate in our performance, and that could be a project metric from there on. Coming to CSAT part, well, let's quickly talk about this one. Okay, CSAT, customer satisfaction score. Well, if I hypothetically say 10 people use my services and I got the feedback, a CSAT survey done from these 10 people. Out of the 10 people, say one person said, well, my services are excellent. One person says, well, 8 people says that it was okay, we're satisfied. One person says, well, it was bad, it was awful and bad, I didn't like it absolutely. So if I'm going with a CSAT model, CSAT tells me my score is 9 on 10. Why? Because it just measures that customer was satisfied or dissatisfied. Only one was dissatisfied. You can't please everyone. Well, you're doing good job. Well, you're doing horrible actually. This was fine if I was measuring satisfaction about 10, 20 years ago, probably not even 10, but 20 years ago. It was still fine, but not any longer. It's an obsolete term because we're heading for trouble if we are still using an outdated metric. There's no longer customer care about satisfaction only. So the evolved metric is the net promoter score, which is again the same CSAT model, but the way we assess this is different. Like, so we have scale starting from 0 and Let's go still 10. Oops, 10. That's the score. And let's kind of get this. Okay. Now, when we get a survey conducted, we generally ask people to get the rating done for us. So when people rate us anywhere between 9 or 10, that's when we say the person is a promoter. 9 or 10 ratings are referred as promoter. These are 7 or 8 is referred as passive. Satisfied, neither happy nor unhappy. Anyone who's rated us anywhere between 0 and 6 will be called as a detractor. Now, NPS score is calculated as NPS score is equal to promoter percentage minus detractor percentage. So when we talk about promoter percentage, hypothetically say 50 people took the survey. Out of 50 people, say 40 people rated 9 or 10. 5 people rated 7 or 8. 5 people rated anywhere between 0 to 6. So technically my promoter percentage is, I'm going to leave it like this. So 40 people who rated 9 or 10, which is promoters, divided by the total number of people. So 40 by 50 is 80%. 80 is the promoter score. Detractor percentage. 5 people who rated between 0 and 6 are detractors. 50 by 50. That's 10%. Your net promoter score is 70. Promoter minus detractor is your NPS. Well, beauty about this NPS model is that it doesn't count even passives. The hero of your CSAT model is now out of equation. That doesn't even count. Well, these guys are indecisive. They're not sure what they want to do. So practically, why even count them in the calculation? Well, they're out of the equation. They're no longer counting them. It's just promoters and how many people were detractors. That's the new, probably that's how people have evolved a lot. If we go and Google up, you will see lots of agencies just talking about NPS score. They are agencies who want to offer the services to various corporates to get to give them a chance to get the quality. All these are examples of, like, you kind of pick up one randomly here.
I'm sorry to interrupt here.
Yes.
To be honest, I'm a bit lost right now. So can you skip back to the axis?
Okay, yeah. I'll just
second,
go back.
please?
Yes.
Okay, so what you've written here? Where is the relation? To what is it related? So the promoter, the detractor,
anyone who rated you based on your services, anyone who rated you your services.
Can you scroll a little bit up, please? It's related to the define phase, right?
Yes. We're trying to collect.
And we are talking about the focus group, or what are we talking about? What is the main topic?
The net promoter score. That's another metric. So we have got different ways how you collect information as to how good or bad you're doing.
Okay,
give you a project.
So voice of customer is the head.
Yes, this is the main topic. Is we collect voice of customer through different sources, and this could be methods of collecting. What is your customer complaining about?
Got it.
You can get the information from, and there could be more. So there's nothing called a right or wrong tool. You can explore any of these options to kind of explore, and you can add more. Bottom line is just about collecting information from your customers as to what they're unhappy with. So yes, they can. That information can be collected through surveys, through interviews, looking at the feedbacks, historical feedbacks. All these options are there. So with these agencies and all, they conduct net promoter audit. Like we used to do a customer satisfaction audit that tells you how good or bad you are. And that's what, if you look at higher the net promoter score, better it is. So given that as also evolved as a metric for organizations to drive a project and to increase the net promoter score. Higher net promoter score talks volume about your performance, because you have very, very less chances to increase the promoter percentage, but you have a lot of exposure to become a detractor, which will bring down your NPS score significantly low. So here, if your company's NPS score is high, that itself speaks a lot about it. That means you're doing a phenomenal job, because what you're doing is that's what it's net promoter, net finally, because you are removing the damage done by the detractors in your promoter percentage. So you sort of subtract that to get your NPS score, and that's the metric which everyone globally, like this is not only particular continent, like practically everyone is following it across the globe, which is that, like, you check out a lot, they'll just about Googling up and you will find a lot of options where companies have sort of gone ahead, and these are agencies who are promoting themselves to like, so that the companies can hire, they've explained a lot of methods how sort of net promoter score is calculated. All these methods are available, how scoring works, everything is explained. So it's one thing which is worth kind of studying, because that's how globally people are moving. All the corporates are moving towards net promoter score as a metric to evaluate how good or bad our services are. So that's how, so these are methods of collecting voice of customer. All that's what we're talking about. Now, in case you have any question on any of these things, we can definitely talk about it. Any questions on the voice of customer?
I'm good. I got it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. Sir. All right. So when you collected this information from different sources, obviously different formats, what you need to do is regroup the data, clean the data, because it's mixed up. It's too much of information in it, and a lot of duplicate ones. You might same, like different kind of customers would have given you more like similar kind of complaints. A lot of duplicate problems would have been shared by a lot of people when you collected information from multiple sources. So you always use an affinity diagram to regroup the data, to make some sense out of the data so that you can clean it up. It's more about cleansing of data. So what you do with the affinity diagram, it's a very simple team activity. It's a team activity. Let me quickly open up an image of how it is done. Like, so a quick image just to kind of give you an idea, and then we can quickly talk about it. And this is basically a team activity. So you write down the complaint on a chit, like, so all those, the chits that we have, these were the complaints that we get from the various customers, and we've grouped the same or similar type of problems in one group. So when we give a label to that, like for example, these are all logistic issues. So we create a group called logistics and we put in all logistic issues here, all quality challenges here, all cost related issues, all behavioral issues. So bottom line, whatever the customer would have complained in given industry. So you regroup as a team, we sort of look at every type of complaint. There's a team activity where we go back to a drawing board, like we can use a white paper or a chart paper or a wall, where you use the sticky notes to kind of place that. So whenever we collect that information, we go to that wall and we sort of paste that sticky note and we regroup the ideas. So the duplicate ones are removed and you can create it. It's just about, there's no additional analysis done here. It's just about cleansing of data. That's what has been done here. So you have a list of all unique problems. So using an affinity diagram, what you all do is you create a list of all unique problems that your customers are complaining. You kind of grouped them together. So if you just a quick minute, just kind of, if we look at affinity diagram, you will see lots of examples of this affinity diagram on there. Just to give it a heads up so that we have a fair bit of idea what this affinity diagram looks like. So people have created, since these are all safety issues. All safety issues are put in this group. All trendy features or performance issues or service issues. So these complaints were given by the people and you sort of clubbed them together. That's it. Under a group, and that's what the team can sort of have a discussion. Now, at least we have one common slide that we talks about every unique problem that your customers are complaining about. So it's a team activity, which we do in terms of cleansing the data. It's the initial part. So the team members will sit together and plan for, there are tons of examples of these, which we can look at and we can kind of get the answer. So what is an affinity diagram? It's always like this. It starts like a messy wallpaper, and this is how it's done. Like people will go to the wall and sort of move around. This is one of the 7 management tools. So this is how it's been. Initially, it's a mixed bag of a lot of complaints. Then we sort of keep removing duplicate ones. So if I were to kind of put together basic purpose of this affinity diagram. So number 1, we club together same or similar problems into one group. Number 2, we remove duplicate problems to get a list of only unique ones. That's what we do with affinity diagram. That's all. There's no rocket science with the affinity diagram as such. It's just about no analysis done, because from here on, the project selection will require discussion, and that where we will not have a role to play in terms of selection of project, because we can do project on anything. It's just about when we talk about selection of project, that's only the part where the champion will sort of have a say. Yes, you could be there to assess the champion, take the decision as to what project can be selected. The other team members of the of champion can be those participants in a meeting room where the champion will have to evaluate from multiple problems that have been shared. So the team can get together. So this discussion team will definitely have somebody from the finance team, because the cost part of it has to be always kept in check. So somebody from finance team will be always available. You would have some the people relevant to that particular problem, say the operational challenges, and we'll have people from operation. If the quality challenges discussed in that complaint, so we'll have people representing from quality department. So we'll have relevant stakeholders who will be part of that discussion meeting, where we will help the champion take a call and select a project, given that say we only have budget to do only one project. So ultimately project needs to be selected. So champion will be the final authority. We all can help the champion take a call. We can discuss that. And that's what we do in ISO 13053 prioritization matrix. It's a template which we can quickly, briefly talk about. But yes, if this is okay with everyone, affinity diagram, there's nothing much. It's just about cleansing of data is being done. Is it okay with everyone? The affinity diagram part. Shall we proceed in case if it's okay with everyone?
Yeah,
I guess it's okay.
Okay, all right. Let's have a quick look at quick template. This is how what we use in case of like this is a screenshot out of the ISO 13053. This is an image which has been taken as a snippet. This is 13053 2011 version for Six Sigma standard. So this is what it describes how a project needs to be selected. There are different parameters which we have here: customer importance, expected total project cost, likelihood of project success, the contribution to the profit, and future applicability in other areas like departments, locations. If a project can be easily replicated, that's a good one. So practically the champion has to evaluate the project of like the different projects. So here in this snippet, we only have two. There can be more, like you might be selecting out of 10 different problems that you have for discussion. So we could be selecting out of multiple. So here it says, etc. So you can have more. It's a basic template that you can design and you can use this. So first thing the customer has, like the team has to decide and help the champion decide like which project is more important from the customer standpoint, not from our standpoint, but which one is a bigger burning issue. And what we do is we do rating on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the lowest rating, 10 is the most critical rating. It's very subjective discussion, but in the end, for a relevant complaint which is related to a particular department, they will sort of help the champion understand like how bad is the situation, what is the current situation going on with the customer, where the customer is really shouting or complaining, where we're having more trouble. So the discussion, the all relevant stakeholders are there. So we're getting the required inputs for champion to arrive and finally decide a rating. So on a scale of 1 to 10, we evaluate 1 is the lowest importance and 10 is the very, very critical one. So here, say we practically, the team sort of unanimously discussed and agreed upon a rating of 8 on 10, very subjective, but ultimately these people are stakeholders. We have to agree, and practically we can't challenge the champion's decision here. So the champion finally is the final authority who will sort of agree on the rating. The team can have a discussion and we can have a mutual understanding. And then finally champion has to confirm, well, the champion is fine and okay with this kind of rating. So probably given this current context, this invoicing error investigation, that's what is troubling a lot, and customers really irritated with this. So we've got a higher rating for this one. This is 8 out of 10. And for say low yield, low productivity, low quality, what I may call this, that's also a concern, but not that big. So we have say sort of rated given the current situation, but from customer standpoint, this is a bigger burning issue. So we got a rating evaluation done. When it comes to cost, when it comes to numbers, life is a lot more easier. Coming and with the expected total cost expected, not the exact one, obviously, but we can create a table. We can create a table like this, and you can customize your own table like project cost. Cost lesser the better. So if I've used like dollars, like $0 to $1,000, then I say higher rating because lesser cost is better. And my cost increase, my rating drops. And you can customize your own table in a different scale because every problem will be evaluated on the same scale. So it doesn't matter. It's neutral. It's fair for every problem. So we can have a cost table created like this. You can use any standard like 0 to 50 and 50 to 100,000. So you can create your own table, but lesser cost is always better. So we try to evaluate what will be the tentative cost of solving this problem. And the team will have those the tentative cost involved discussed, like what we will say, for example, invoicing error. We might have to purchase some licensing stuff and will be required, from automation will be required. So we discuss and come up with a tentative rough estimate of solving this problem. And then we refer to the table and look at the corresponding rating for that one. Similarly, we come up with a tentative cost for solving this problem. Again, refer to the cost in this table and give the rating. Then comes to the likelihood of project success, where we try to evaluate what are the chances that you will be able to complete the project successfully. Well, given the current situation, what is the chances that you will be able to complete it successfully? Well, given that if you have you done a project like this before? If you've done it, then pretty much you know exactly what needs to be done. That's a great success criteria. What are the potential risks associated with solving this problem? That will also be considered. You'll be trying to see and evaluate like what is the chances that okay, oh well, I guess okay, well, let's because we given the time, I think it may take more time. So we just start, like I guess we can park it here. We can have this discussed in the next session, given like it's almost right and it will take some time. So is it okay? We can start, we can sort of discuss this next in the next meeting. All right, so
Yes,
of course.
all right, perfect. So there's no point in kind of rushing through this one. But so I'll place these templates and all what we've discussed, and plus, yes, you have the list of the things which are available. There will be certain additional templates. I would specifically request you to kind of look into this section, which is project charter. This is where I will be sharing a template, a quick one. Just want to I'll place this in the Google Drive that I shared. This is a simple project charter template, which the template can be designed in any which ways, Excel, PowerPoint, and all. Bottom line, that's what we fill in the Lean Six Sigma project charter typically. And there is an explanation for every section, how you need to fill it, what needs to be kept in mind, and with an example. So what you got to keep in mind and an example of it. What are you going to keep in mind and an example of it. So it's pretty neatly drafted. I'll place this in the shared drive. Was defined phase, the entire project purpose is to get the project. And this is what you got to submit with your management, the project charter. So you have to understand how to do it. So yes, it will be highly advisable. I'll place these files in the shared drive. Do go through them. And plus you have the list of other activities that we will be able to talk about. So yes, they are already here. So you may go and check out the material that you received from IMC. And yes, in case there's something which, in case you need any clarity, I hope we have joined the WhatsApp group. In case you have not, I would highly recommend, please do join it. In case you come across any question during the week also, you can ping there and I'll be more than happy to kind of share and come and respond to that. So please do join the WhatsApp group. The link was already shared. I'm going to put that link back again in the chat. Please see if you, in case you're comfortable, please do join the WhatsApp group. And I will be sharing, give me like some time, I'll be, and I have to kind of revisit, edit some of these links. So these mock test links, I'll be sort of removing because there will be some correction required in this one. So I will be kind of updating these links and sharing it when we meet next. But in the meantime, the Google Drive is the same. This is the Google Drive where I'll be sharing this file. So please allow me some time as I'll put together a lot more other additional material in the day one folder in the same Google Drive. So please allow me some time. I will be able to add it today itself. I'll confirm on the WhatsApp group in case you join. But anyway, just tonight it will be added and all the material will be shared in the Google Drive. I guess that, yeah. So I guess that will be all for today. But yeah, thanks a lot. And yeah, do let me know in case there's anything which needs to improvise or change. We can definitely work on that. All right.
yes. Thank you for your
Thanks.
efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Yeah,
Have a
bye-bye.
nice day.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a good
Thank
week.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.